We wanted to turn now to a look ahead to 2024. A new Iowa poll out showing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis leading former President Donald Trump 45% to 37% in a hypothetical Iowa primary. Now, DeSantis has not yet announced an official White House bid, but many speculate that he might do so at the end of the Florida legislature session. With us now, Ed Rollins is a senior political strategist for the Political Action Committee, Ready for Ron. Hogan Gidley is a former national press secretary for the Trump campaign. Gentlemen, welcome, and thanks so much for coming on today. Ed, based on your PAC affiliation here, I have a feeling where you're leaning in regards to this hypothetical matchup. But what did you make from that poll? Again, it's one poll in the grand scheme of many polls, but what might it tell you?
Well, it tells me that DeSantis obviously is a viable candidate. When you get into Iowa and you get into New Hampshire and you get into these smaller states and you have grassroots efforts going forward, basically a lot can happen. Hogan and I worked together on, chaired Mike Huckabee's campaign, and Hogan was one of our great strategists on that campaign. And we won that and became a viable candidate in Iowa. A lot can happen. The critical thing is how you raise money, how you get into the race. And obviously, DeSantis still has a couple months to go in his legislative session. And I think, and equally as important, the former president has a legal challenges ahead that obviously are going to be difficult to break out with communicating your plan and your future plans with that going on. So it's going to be an election. I've been doing this for 50 years. This is going to be an election like none I've ever seen before.
Oh, my goodness. Just when we thought 2020 was crazy. Gear up, get ready.
2020 is minor compared to this.
All right. There's a tease for you. Of course, just keep it on Newsmax, right? We'll have it all covered for you. And if you were watching Newsmax, you might have seen the former president recently this past weekend. He hosted a rally in Waco, Texas. He brought up Ron DeSantis. Here's what he had to say.
When a man comes to me, tears in his eyes, he's at almost nothing in the polls. So he came and he really wanted. I said, you can't win, can you? How do you can win? Sir, if you endorse me, I'll win. Please. Please, sir, endorse me. And I said, all right, let's give it a shot.
In reference there to Ron DeSantis ahead of his previous gubernatorial race in the state of Florida, where it was a very close race. He ended up winning back in 2018. But Hogan, I'll go to you on that. What did you make of the crowd response? Maybe not as cheerful as you might typically find at a Trump rally. Did you read into any of that? And maybe just weigh in on the Republican infighting we've seen between Trump and DeSantis at this point.
Well, look, I mean, these crowds are pretty excited when Donald Trump shows up to town, tens of thousands of people on hand to hear the former president of the United States speak, to talk about what he was able to accomplish, record-setting wins and record-setting time in his first term as president of the United States, and then how he's going to shape policy and how he's going to move things forward for a second term. That's exactly what he delivered to the people of Waco. But of course, he's going to talk about some stories from the past and tell some little humorous anecdotes. That's who he is. That's how he operates. And that's how he gets the crowd chuckling. And that's part of the charm and humor that is Donald Trump. As far as Republican infighting is concerned, look, Ed's right. He's been doing this for 50 years. I've been doing it for 25. We've seen a lot in our time. And I can tell you, it's a long slog. We've got about 2 years still before the next general election. A lot can happen between now and then. Voters in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, they appreciate the personal touch. They appreciate people visiting. But they also have to have apparatus in place for blocking and tackling. You have to understand how to get out voters. You have to understand word of mouth. You have to understand how little nuances and little mess ups can really infect your campaign and become a cancer and help sink it. Or you can do something that helps catapult you to the nomination. And so Donald Trump's been down this road before. DeSantis is kind of a newcomer to the national stage as it relates to presidential politics. But we've got a long ways to go between now and the election process for sure.
We do. There are legal challenges for the former president. There's the challenge of being on the national stage for the Florida governor. And then, of course, there are the debates, which I will be fascinated to tune into to see who ends up wanting to get that Republican nomination. Ed Rollins, Hogan Gidley, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Nice to see you, Hogan.
Thanks so much.
You too. Take care.
You too, Ed.
All right.